Now, for more on this, I can speak with Aurélie Baranger, Director of Autism-Europe. Thank you very much for joining us here on the program. Now, before we get to discussing France's handling or the proposal by the French government, I'd like to ask you a bit about the understanding of autism and really its root causes. Are we any closer to understanding it?
Yes, there is a lot of research around the causes of autism, and we know, for example, that there is a strong genetic basis. So various genes have been identified over the past years. There is also environmental factors. So there is a diversity of causes, and we are progressing in discovering what those are. But for example, when it comes to genetic, it is extremely complex. There is a lot of genes that are at stake, and there's still a lot of work to be done to know better about this.
Indeed, and let's talk a bit about public awareness, because you had mentioned even perhaps environmental factors had a major concern to any parents or future parents. Here in France, what is the level of public awareness of autism?
I think, like everywhere in Europe, awareness is growing. People know about autism, they've heard about autism, but what is currently lacking is the understanding of what it really means for people living with autism, for autistic people. And so there's a lot of prejudices and preconceived idea on what is autism. And so people know about it, but they don't really understand it. And that's one major demand from autistic people, to gain a better understanding from the general population, so that their needs and the way they can be included in society is better addressed.
Well, how do you think the government's plan, the French government's plan, will help? Does it go far enough?
It covers very important areas from what I've heard from the first elements that came out. So, for example, early diagnosis, access to early evidence-based intervention, inclusive education is a major step forward. And adults should not be forgotten, because there is a lot of autistic adults whose needs are really not addressed. They're completely forgotten in the French society, in the country. Some are, there is an estimate that there's 10,000 people that are in psychiatric hospitals. Others are sent here abroad to Belgium, far away from their families, to be cared for. And there's a vast majority of them that simply do not have any solution, that live with their families. And yeah, so that's one also major element. Does it go far enough? It goes, there is very interesting proposals. I think one major concern at the moment from association, from families and persons on the autism spectrum, is to see what resources will be made available, because the budget currently, that the first echo I got from the French organization, is rather low compared to the ambition of the plan. So it remains to be seen how it will be implemented in practice. For example, when including children at school, you really need individualized support to make sure that they have a personal assistant who can help them to overcome some of their difficulties. And as every autistic person is different, it really needs to be personalized and individualized to each and every single person's need. And most importantly, people working with children need to receive adequate training in order to be able to do that. And it's currently lacking in the country.
All right, Aurélie Baranger, thank you very much for joining us on the program. We do appreciate it.